Hey everybody, I want to talk about the Fresh Journey Essential Hiking Carry List. So those things that a hiker really wants to have out on the trail to keep you safe and having a good time. So one of the first things we always talk about is navigation. Um, so I generally will print a map still because it is helpful in case you lose cell service or just all those things that happen. Your phone gets dropped. I've done it before. So you have a general plan. So we're actually going hiking tomorrow. So we happen to be going on a simple trail. It doesn't have a lot of branches, but that is one nice thing is that, yeah, that doesn't show up, but you're going to see. We don't have any branching sections, unlike this trail up here that's got lots of branching sections. So it helps just to know when there's a trail that's going to come off to the right and you take it or you don't. So that's what's good about having a paper map. And you can also make sure you have your phone and check. You can take a screenshot of it. That way, if you don't have service too, you can always get to your pictures. So we do tend to hike with our phones into airplane mode. And so that does save the batteries. And then, I've got the screenshots of pictures and things on there. But, dropping your phone does happen and then you're sad. Okay, your second essential that you are definitely going to make sure you want to have is water. So whether you're carrying a backpack and you've got your water in your pack, or you've got a water bottle that you are bringing, you're definitely going to want to carry water and make sure that it's enough for your trail. So in the under 8 miles in moderate heat, okay, your 2 to 3 liters is going to be enough usually. If you're getting hotter than that and longer than that, you're going to want to make sure you carry extra water. And then you also want to be able to have a way to purify it. So it kind of depends on what trails you're going to be on. But a life straw is something that you might consider where you can actually drink straight from the creek or whatever water source you can find. So a life straw is cool. There are these cool little tablets. As you can tell, I carry things in packs that are safe. So there are single tabs that will purify your water in case you were to dip from a creek or something. There are also 2-step tablets. So you need to make sure that you're looking at the set and read the instructions so that you stay safe. But these are simple to carry. You just drop it in, let it sit for a few minutes, and it makes it safe. And then if you are taking longer trips, maybe a little bit more like backpacking, then you might want to invest into a filtration system of some sort. But generally, for our day trips, you're not going to need that. You're just going to want to be able to have the water that you've brought and some way to access water in case you were to be out there longer than you wanted to be. Another thing we always want to make sure we have is a source of light. Okay, so this is a rechargeable one. So again, when we're dealing with a lot of things that are based on electronics, that also might mean you need to carry a charging system. And if you have a standard headlight, you're probably going to want to carry an extra set of batteries. Again, putting everything into a baggie because if things get wet, then they don't work right. So carrying a light and then a whistle. So all of my packs got my whistles here. So some we have found that some of these backpacks come with whistles on their clips. They stink. They're not loud at all. They're not good. So dollar store whistles or just an athletic whistle will work great. Because if you get hurt and you need to alert someone, you can see them, but you can't holler because it hurts really bad or your wind's knocked out of you or something. Typically, you can blow a whistle. But you want to make sure that whistle is loud enough. Or if you get lost, we've had our kids separated from us on a hillside and we could hear the whistle. And so we were able to communicate and they were able to come back up to us. So a whistle is a good thing. Um, fourth. We're talking about shelter, some sort of shelter that you are going to be able to be protected. One of these space blankets, they're like at the regular section of Walmart for like under $3. These space blankets, they will just insulate you and keep you a little bit warmer. A poncho is a great idea too. As long as it doesn't get ripped, you can use it again. Then you've got a first aid kit. And so typically you can make your own out of stuff that you have and just find a Ziploc bag or another sort of bag. There's also the kits that you can buy. I would recommend that if you are buying a kit, that you would probably add in some pain relievers and maybe even some Benadryl in case you get stung by a bee or have an allergic reaction to something. So I would tend to throw in a couple of extra things into one of these. If you happen to buy one, they're sufficient for what you're doing for a day hike. Not a problem. Warm, dry clothing. Okay. So typically when you head out on a trail, you have a certain expectation, you know what you're getting into. So our hike tomorrow morning, we're going to be leaving in the morning. It's probably going to be cool. So I do tend to dress in layers, and I do really appreciate the merino wool layers. So I'll probably start out with my merino wool base layer on, along with my t-shirt that I'm hiking in. And depending on whether it's cool enough or not, we've got these cute little beanies that one of our friends made for us. So that's probably what I'm going to start out with. And then I typically carry a windbreaker or a raincoat with me every single time. And then depending on the elevation and the wind predicted and that sort of stuff, one of these puffer jackets is really, really nice. They tend to wad down and they can fit into these little things that's about the size of a water bottle. So these puffer jackets are great for layering. So those are my suggestions for trying to stay warm and dry. And I almost always carry an extra pair of socks also in a Ziploc bag because I want my socks and my feet to stay dry in case we have to go through lots of puddles or creeks that we didn't expect to be as high, or they said that there was going to be ways to get around them and they washed out. So it happens. All right, next on our list we have sun protection, sunglasses, sunscreen. So love my glasses that I found on the trail. They were awesome. And sunscreen, typically a lot of my stuff just gets put on carabiners and put onto my backpacks. Food. Food's important. So on a day hike, I tend to carry my food in a accessible place, at least the smaller snacky items. So this is just an old camera bag, literally came out of my grandma's attic. And this is just a little zipper pouch. So that way when I put my pack on, I can just snack this here. And whenever I'm hungry, I have access to my food. So pack an extra portion or two. Some good dense food like these paleo bars or some of these epic protein meat bars. They're great. So I tend to usually carry a couple of extra portions. And then we've got a knife or a multi-tool. Let's see here. So I think I showed you in this pack, I've always got my little tiny baby Swiss Army knife. In this pack, I've got a bigger one, more of a multi-tool. This one is not super great, but it does do the trick if we need to repair things. Typically, I like the screw. The corkscrew actually pokes really good holes to fix things. But I do have a better knife in here because this knife is eh. But if you are spending money and investing in things slowly, that's okay. It's okay to start with where you're at and just have access to what you need to have access to. And then our last thing is some sort of fire. So I carry waterproof matches and a fire starter, which is actually just an egg carton with lint and some wax poured over it, some old crayons and such. So that if I were to need to start a fire, I would have access to that. And then we always say that you need to tell somebody where you're going and how long you're going to be gone. And so typically, I will also carry a small little notebook and an old pencil that's, surviving. And that way, if I need to write a note and leave it in my car, I have 3 people out on the trail. This is where we're going. This is when we expect to be back. Just because, when cars are parked there for some time, you don't know how long they've been there. And that's really a cool thing to be able to peek in there and, see left on the dash or left on the seat, this person expected to be back and they're not back. That's kind of, so make sure you're telling somebody where you're going and how long you're going to be there, and then leave a note. Let people know what's happening, because it can be scary if you're out there all by yourself and nobody knows where you're at. You decided to change your mind and go to a different trail, and so just leave a note, tell somebody, send a text if you can. So those are my tips.